Hello, my name is David O'Brien. And I'm here for your success in the areas of purity. Hello and welcome back to the Purity Forum broadcast. My name is David O'Brien. I am the Bondage Breaker, Freedom Doctor, Purity Doctor, and I'm glad to be here with you today discussing the topic of when do I need to know about addictions? When do I need to understand addictions? Now, you can understand addictions early on, it's fine, but I would say by the time you're 12, 13 years old, which in many cultures is a man or a woman. By the time you're 12, you get a bar mitzvah if you're Jewish. And in many cultures, you start to get increased responsibility. Anyway, but around that time, you need to understand addictions. And the reason is not because you need to know the ins and outs of everything that's evil out there, but you need to understand simply how they work in order to stay away from them, because addictions work like a trap. Imagine a bear trap. Imagine if you live near a forest or in a forest and you're constantly walking through. You need to recognize and understand bear traps, their danger, what they can do to you, how it can affect you long term. Because, for example, if a bear trap is rusty and you step in it and it closes on your leg, not only is there pain involved, not only is there wounds that need to quickly heal, but there's also rust on the metal if it's old, and that rust can get in your bloodstream and cause something that you don't want to happen. I believe it's called tetanitis. So there are things like that you need to understand depending on the environment you live in. Now, in the world today, this is 2023 when I'm speaking, in the so-called modern world, the technologically advanced world, there is a lot of addiction going on. There's a lot of imbalance with a lot of people. And whenever anyone says that, like me now, you want to make sure that I'm speaking from a heart of compassion. I'm not judging, blaming, I'm not mad. I want to put out a hand of rescue and help to you, to people. And I want you to be able to do that for others too. And you can do that when you understand addictions. Because addictions are peace thieves. They steal people's peace. They steal people's joy. They pull someone in a direction that much of the person, their own being, doesn't want to go in. That's why it's called an addiction, a bondage, because the person is being pulled by one desire, which is in the brain, and the rest of their body, their thoughts, maybe their conscience, their pledges, says go the other way. And many times, if it is an addiction, unless they learn the tools to get out, and it can be a long path out through a forest, up a hill. So you don't want that either. It's better to never go into it. But if someone doesn't get the understanding, the power, the tools to get out, they can be stuck in that for the rest of their life. And I'm telling you, as they try to go up high, they're going up. God is helping them go up in life. And then the addiction grabs their ankle, or the spirit behind the addiction, really. And the way of thinking and the lack of understanding grabs their ankle and pulls them back down. And they have to feel like they're starting all over again. Well, they're not starting all over again. You benefited from the last time, everything you've ever learned. You benefited. You can use it all. But there's a point where you have to break free. You go past the limitation put on you by the past and by feelings, desires, thoughts, and triggers of addiction. And you break free. And then you can turn around and see from afar off what it was that used to pull you down and hold you back. That's a good place to be. But for many of you, and the goal of this broadcast and everything else that we do for people, the goal is that you never go into that place of bondage in the first place. That's a much easier, better, and peaceful life. So I need to tell you how to understand addiction. I need to give you a few points so that you do understand addiction. It is actually very simple. An addiction begins with a trap, a trick, a deception, a deceptive trap. A trap is always deceptive. It always has an element of bait. The bait is there. For example, a mouse trap. The mouse smells the cheese. So they forget about the danger. They're blinded temporarily to the danger of the actual mechanism that will come down on them, that will break their back and hold the little mouse there, or rat, or whatever it is, until it dies. So that's how it works. It's jaws, you know. There, like I said, there's a bear trap. It has jaws. So there's a trick and a trap, first of all. You got to understand. A trap is placed deceptively and strategically in a certain place to get you to fall into it, or to accidentally you fall into it. Let me put it that way. Also, it has bait. So the goal is that you have your guard down and you're distracted, and then you step into that trap. That's why it's put in a place where there's a lot of distractions. The area is lush. You put a trap there. You put something that blends into the environment. Seems like everyone's doing it's okay. All the so-called cool people or acceptable people in your eyes are doing this certain thing. So then you do it too. But that's the bait. So in other words, you choose to take the bait. Very important. We cannot take bait. We have to, once you understand the trap, you won't take the bait, because you'll see past the bait to what it really is. And you will have to separate yourself from people who are routinely taking that bait, because they are part of the distraction and the attraction to the bait. And they won't mind if your whole life is ruined. They won't mind if your brain, if your thought life, your thoughts are hurt over the things that hurt them. And some of them may not even get hurt, but they'll enjoy seeing you hurt. They don't mind. That's not a true friend. That's a leech. That's someone who's using you temporarily, and they'll move on. So stay away from those people. It's better to be a loner and to wait and to pray. Ask your heavenly Father for friends, and watch and see. Someone shows up and all of a sudden they're a friend. Maybe not what you were looking for, but what you needed. And so a lot of times addictions start with the associations of people you're around. The things they like, all of a sudden you try. And it could lead, that might not be the addiction, but that could lead to a place where the addiction or the problem is camouflaged and put there. For example, a late night party. Everybody seems fine, but there's a trap there that you weren't expecting from someone that other people weren't expecting either. And it has to do with drugs, or it has to do with some sort of terrible perversion or abuse or use or force of abuse. So stay away. Now, parents often tell their kids stay away, but they do it in an unattractive way. And the kid thinks, well, I can handle that, and I do it anyway. Parents, if you're listening to me, teach why. When you teach why, you show examples, even examples from your own life. Your kids can listen and start to make their own decision. And sometimes they really need to physically move to another state, another city, another part of the city, another school, because the pull daily can be so strong. But young person, if you're listening, you can get away, because that trap is too painful. What we're going to do is break this into a couple, at least 2 segments, just to help you understand addiction. So I'll see you again on the Purity Forum broadcast.